Hello, School Transportation Nation. Tony Corpin here with School Transportation News. I am fresh off of STN EXPO, and we had a great conference. It was a lot of fun, and you know what? We saw lots of partners, lots of friends, and we also saw this episode's sponsor, which is TransFinder, the leader in school bus routing. And guys, I know you've been attending so many school transportation trade shows this summer, and you'll likely be bumping into our friends at TransFinder. These guys are all over the place, crisscrossing the country, various trade shows, and they're showing how their award-winning solution is bringing safety and savings to school districts and contractors. TransFinder is going to take you higher and further to manage your entire transportation operation with their new trifecta. That's Route Finder Plus, the browser-based solution, Wayfinder, TransFinder's Innovator Driver app, and Stop Finder, their industry-leading parent app. Plus is now more than 2 years old, and it has proprietary artificial intelligence optimization baked into it, as well as tools like Form Finder and Chat Finder. Guys, if you didn't see them at trade shows, no problem. They'd love to chat with you. Check them out. Email them, getplus@transfinder.com, or give them a call, 800-373-3609. All right, diving into the conference, I've got Mr. Ryan Gray. Ryan, we missed you at the show. I know you got sick, you didn't come, but you know what? You were pulling all the strings from behind the curtain. You know, we saw amazing content, keynotes. We kicked it off with the Transportation Directors Summit, Green Bus Summit. You must have felt like just dying that you weren't there, man.
Yeah, it was very surreal. I was counting up that I think this was the first Reno conference that I've missed in about 19 years.
Wow.
So, you know, not counting 2020 because we obviously had to postpone. Everybody was postponing events that year. But aside from that, it definitely felt surreal. I was doing my best to stay in tune with what was going on. Definitely working with the editorial team remotely, reading all their articles. And, you know, I was asking them every day how things were going and how did this go and how did that go. And all the reports were great. It seemed like everyone was really enjoying their time and there was a lot of beneficial conversations. I'm busy right now trying to watch some of the general sessions. The Peppermill was kind enough to record those for me. So starting to jump into those. So I've been told by Kent Myers, our AV manager, that there's several videos of about 8 hours of content that he's cleaning up so I can watch some of that stuff and at least feel caught up and feel like I was somewhat there, Tony.
You'll get your fill, Ryan. 8 hours of a video. I feel like you're just kidding.
I don't have time to watch that. Some of that is, you know, he's scrubbing it and editing it down for me. But one of the things that I really wanted to check out, Tony, and you can, you know, tell me and tell all our listeners, we had Alejandra Nunez from EPA. She's the assistant deputy administrator there with the Office of Air and Mobility. She launched our Tuesday general session where we're talking about clean school bus program. That was a great win for us. We've never had such a high-ranking EPA official come to any of our conferences.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I spoke to her, she had mentioned that, you know, what really piqued her interest was Green Bus Summit, right? She wanted to go see the outdoor event that we had hosted. So for you guys that weren't at STN EXPO, we had introduced Green Bus Summit, and we had done an outdoor immersive experience along with a bunch of panel discussions that were hosted by various sponsors at the conference. And the outdoor experience did not disappoint. We had all our sponsors out there, almost like a festival style feel, live band, drinks, dinner, and an electric propane school bus ride and drive. So it was extremely well attended. And I think she wanted to experience all of the new technology that was on display. And I'm not sure if I can recall any conference or opportunity where so many OEMs were showing new tech. We had some new bus launches. Green Power launched their Nano Beast, which is kind of the electric EV type A. We saw Lion Electric launch their Lion A. BYD was there on display. IC Bus.
Collins Bus launched their Type A too.
Yeah, we saw lots. We had Bluebird, Cummins. The list goes on and on, Ryan. There was just so much cool technology. I think everybody got their fill. I know Washoe provided buses to kind of display propane technology. So the local school district there in Nevada helped out the Propane Education Research Council and provided some technology for our guests to experience. So yeah, all around really cool. And I think that was the big takeaway is on the Tuesday, it was kind of like we got to unpack a little more kind of all the energy, all the excitement, and really bring it down and let the EPA kind of share what was coming down the pipe. But there was so much content around green. It felt like that was just the heaviest portion of the show. Not surprising though, because this is the direction many people are wanting to know about. And there's just so much information out there. You're drinking from the fire hose, kind of like Alex Cook, who I interviewed last week, talked about. There's just so much information that we're trying to get in the system and so many stakeholders to really make this big transition to alternative energy work in operational level.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I was interested in seeing, and of course I wasn't able to get there, but there's so much was talking about electric infrastructure. But actually at the Green Bus Summit outdoor event that you were mentioning, there was I saw a lot of things on social media regarding mobile propane tank.
Yeah, so Stephen Whaley, the director of Autogas Business Development for the Propane Education Research Council, talked a little bit about this technology. So they dropped this giant propane tank in our parking lot. And what's super interesting about it is it has solar on it, and it also can hook up to EV charging. So basically, it's a mobile power plant in essence, and they were displaying it as brand new technology. It was fresh, right? They had just completed it, ready to go for our conference, and a lot of excitement about the possibilities of this. And he pretty much said you can drop it in a field on the top of a mountain. It has a lot of capabilities. And normally, I guess, when you have a propane tank, you can only fill it to about 80%. So 1,000-gallon tank, you can only fill 800 gallons. But in this case, you actually can fill it all the way to 1,000 gallons. So a true 1,000-gallon tank could power an electric school bus too, right? So it can link up. There's a little bit of conduit that's got to run from it to the electric charger, but you could potentially use it as a redundancy, right? So if there's some power failure, you can flip on your propane generator and bang, it's just going to start working. And it also integrated solar. So a lot of really interesting new tech that was deployed at Green Bus Summit and displayed. Just tons of excitement, Ryan. Just lots of new stuff for people to kind of sink their teeth into.
And speaking of innovation, we have our innovation awards coming out shortly. I know we're busy looking at those numbers, and I think we were hoping as we were recording this podcast that we'd be able to announce those winners. Not quite yet, so you're going to have to hold off. So hopefully by the time everyone's listening to this podcast, we'll have those winners available. But Tony, talk a little bit about the trade show. I mean, aside from, there was a lot of green technology, and green technology was one of those categories for the innovation awards. But what else stood out to you from the trade show floor?
Yeah, well, I mean, not surprising. There was the most electric buses you've ever seen on the trade show floor. And I think it was the diversity of companies. We've definitely seen a lot more infrastructure types of companies that have joined us, obviously Nuvi, and we've got In Charge and Mobility House, and there's a variety of other companies that were on display there. We saw safety technologies, guys like Netrodyne, Roscoe Vision Systems. We had Safety Vision had launched some brand new technology there, brand new platform. We saw some stuff with new ticketing, kind of the illegal passing technologies. Our friends at REI were there. We had so many different companies present themselves and really display new things. And I mean, I always joke, God forbid the news is actually new. I think when you go to a trade show, you come to see the latest and greatest products, right? You don't want to feel like you're just seeing everything's the same. Why do I need to go? But I say it was absolutely a buzz with all the things happening. In fact, later on the podcast, I am introducing a new company that actually joined us, a gentleman named Eric Vierson from Ingevity, and he is going to share a little bit about a vehicle called the Cow Fart Bus. So really interesting to learn more about that, to kind of see what was happening there. But I think, we had panels, Ryan, where we had all the energy groups kind of represented, where we had WRI, we have propane, we had CNG, we had a variety of thoughts on these different fuel types to really unpack for the attendees, maybe what is the correct fuel choice for you. One interesting thing that was said, Lion Electric at the opening salvo of their session at Green Bus Summit, Nate Baggio, who's a VP over there, said the diesel bus is comparative to a payphone. It is the payphone of our time. And he was like, this electric bus, it is brand new, state of the art. He just said, we are way overdue as an industry to be focused on, and that the administration putting all this money in play really allows the school bus industry to bubble up to the top and to be kind of the tip of the spear. And we've heard that over the years, but here it is actually happening. And Green Bus Summit was kind of the culmination, a lot of discussion around this. So it's really top of mind. So it just gets me excited, Ryan, to see all the new tech, safety equipment, energy. We have a real bright future in school transportation, and we're coming from a really weird space after COVID. Not to say COVID's gone, but I think, schools are back to business, and that's really great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of getting back to business, I'm hoping, of course, that the next conference that we have coming up, I'll actually be able to attend this one, TSD conference in November. The registration is open for that. It's just another opportunity, Tony, for folks to get out there and get together, talk, learn, network. Well, of course, we were supposed to have TSD in March, but with COVID and a little thing called the driver shortage really has really hamstrung a lot of folks this past school year. So we made the decision to go ahead and move the conference back to November. We had done that again last year, and it was really a welcome realization that we had, Tony. We were all worried last November, and we had over 300 attendees, just slightly off of our normal numbers for TSD back in November. So we're hoping that, folks will get mobilized and be able to come out and join us in the Frisco area, November 8th through the 13th. So there'll be some slight changes this year. We're going to have the rodeo at Prosper ISD. Frisco ISD is unable to hold it because of Veterans Day. That Veterans Day Friday is in that week, and they have a big town parade, so their facility is not going to be available. So our friends over at Prosper ISD are opening their doors. They're going to allow us to have the trade show there on November 12th, along with our special needs evacuation drills and training. And then we're going to have NHTSA there, the NHTSA 8-hour training on the 13th on a Sunday. So a little bit different cadence than what we're used to. But, again, with COVID and the driver shortage, and we've got inflation, and we've got this, that, and the other thing that has really been putting pressure on everyone, Tony. We've thanks to our partners out there in the Frisco area, to the Embassy Suites. So we're really looking forward to that. Guys can check out tsdconference.com. I'm busy putting together the agenda, working with our tenured faculty on that. So little by little over the coming weeks, you'll see some more detail. But definitely you can check out what we have over at tsdconference.com.
Yeah, and to add to that, Ryan, we have our super early bird discount good through August 12th. So you can save $150 on registration. So make sure and grab your registration before the savings deadline expires. Early bird gets the worm. Well, the super early bird, I guess, gets even a bigger discount, right? So that's really great. And then, guys, just so you've got it on your radar, for 2023, we have STN EXPO Indianapolis, June 2nd through the 6th, 2023 at the Indiana Convention Center. We stay at the Crown Plaza again and Omni downtown Indy. And then for STN Expo in Reno plus Green Bus Summit, that will be July 14th through the 19th, 2023. So mark the calendar. We are feverishly working on the new conference websites for STN Expo, and we should have those up relatively quickly. But if you'd like to check out all the great information and stories, pictures, videos, you guys can go to stnonline.com. You'll see our site just littered with content from the conference, as well as if you go check out our YouTube channel, social media. If you didn't see pictures, man, there was just so much action at the show and people were sharing. I don't know how many shares we got, Ryan, but man, my social media was on fire with pictures coming out of Reno, and I loved every second of it. It was a lot of fun to see us back. Everybody loves a comeback, Ryan, and I think, it felt good to be back to normal.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was another way that I tried to stay tapped into what was going on. I was checking, of course, our Twitter and looking at Facebook and looking at what some of our vendors and school districts were saying. It was great to see LA Unified, picked up on the awards, the Green Bus Fleet Awards. LA Unified, one of those winners that were announced on the 17th. It was great to see the superintendent tweet something. So, we're getting the brand out there. We're mobilizing, and again, just looking forward so I can actually get back to one of these conferences very soon.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, it was really special. I think, we had David Horsager, who we had out in Indianapolis, and he opened it up on Sunday for us at Green Bus Summit, but he was also at the Transportation Directors Summit in Lake Tahoe and gave everybody just an absolute amazing experience. And it's really refreshing to have a speaker that comes in. They're not talking necessarily operationally. They're talking big picture. And his topic was trust. And, it really comes down to everything is based on trust, right? That is his kind of foundational thought process, that if you're trying to recruit, the people you're trying to recruit have to trust that you're going to do a good job. It's going to be a great place to work. The parents have to trust you when they give you their kids. It's just all around. You got to trust your vendors. You got to trust your partners. It really just so interesting. So David's got a few books. So lots of interesting stuff happening. So I'm super excited to talk more about that in future podcasts.
All right, Tony, let's get to your interview with Eric Verson, Commercialization Manager for Adsorbed Natural Gas, Ingevity, the Fart Bus.
All right, guys, really excited for our next interview. Just coming fresh off of STN Expo, there was a really cool bus at our show. Normally there's really cool buses, but this bus was really cool. It was called the Cow Fart Bus. And you're thinking, a cow fart bus at STN Expo? What is that? Right? It's got literally a giant cow on the side that says, this bus is fueled by cow farts. So clearly every attendee had to take a picture next to it. So I brought on Eric Verson. He is the commercialization manager for New Fuel, who's kind of the technology behind this bus. And it was their first time at STN Expo. So Eric, welcome to the podcast. Super excited for you to join us.
Hey, thanks, Tony. I'm super excited to be here as well.
Wonderful. So can you talk to us a little bit about your technology? What was it doing at STN Expo? What were attendees' reaction to it?
Yeah, we had a great time at STN Expo. And by the way, it's a great event that you put together, and we were excited to be a part of it this time. The technology on the Cow Fart Bus is the Demi diesel displacer, which goes on the engine, enables the existing diesel school bus to operate on natural gas. And Ingevity's New Fuel technology stores the gas. And so it allows fleets to start saving money by reducing their diesel usage, reduce overall greenhouse gas emissions, and even provide a better driving experience for the driver. So we really wanted to get that out there in front of all the fleets that were attending the event. And so we came up with this concept of the Cow Fart Bus to really grab people's attention. And why we call it the cow fart bus is because that natural gas that's being used to drive the vehicle is actually something called renewable natural gas. And that renewable natural gas can come from animals such as cows, cow farts, cow poop, can come from pigs. It can also come from landfill, wastewater. So there's a lot of different things, but the most exciting thing about it is the cow farts, obviously. So we really had a great time with it. And everybody, like you said, wanted to come up and talk to us about it, learn more, take a picture next to it, and grab a whoopee cushion as well.
Yeah, super fun concept. I loved it personally, and I thought it was a lot of fun. And I think a lot of people love to have fun at our conference. But it's good to kind of have an educational, useful thing. And the green energy conversation was kind of front and center with Green Bus Summit. So there was a lot of discussion about that, right? So there's this kind of movement towards electrification. But you see yourself as kind of a dual fuel option in part of the overall conversation. So can you kind of talk a little bit about that kind of concept a little bit with the audience?
Yeah, so we see an opportunity that there are going to be diesel buses that are going to continue to run for quite some time, right? Even as you roll out more EV buses and they become more available, fleets are still going to have to operate diesel buses for some time until they can transition completely, if that's the path they want to go. We provide an opportunity for those fleets as they start to transition to cleaner fuels, whatever that may be, whether it's electricity, if it's propane, if it's renewable diesel, or if it's even natural gas. We provide an opportunity for them to transition to that fuel with also helping them bring along their existing diesel buses. So we'll reduce their diesel usage by up to 50% and allow them to start transitioning. So really it's a way for them to kind of get used to or dip their toe a little bit in with alternative fuels, but also allow them to kind of create a full, let's call it, plan to transition their entire fleet over a couple of years.
Yeah, that sounds like using less than 50% of the diesel that I'm using now. Sounds like some significant fuel cost savings. That's what I heard you say. I heard fuel cost savings in there somewhere. So, I mean, I think that's an interesting play by considering a technology like this. Now, my first question is, I don't have a CNG infrastructure, Eric. How does that work if I don't have CNG in my school district yard now and I'm just fueling diesel? How do I bridge that gap to kind of get over the hump to leverage this type of technology?
Yeah, great question. And you are right. You're going to save some significant money by displacing diesel with natural gas. It can be up to $3 to $4 a gallon right now. So it's pretty impressive. But for infrastructure, with the Ingevity New Fuel solution, it operates at a lower pressure than compressed natural gas for those that are familiar with it. And so that enables us to bring in the infrastructure for about $2,000 to $5,000 per bus. And that would allow them to fill up on site cost effectively overnight. And even whenever the vehicle is at the yard, they would be refueling using this appliance. And then if for some reason that they run a route where they empty the natural gas tank, well, then the vehicle will still run on diesel. So there's no range anxiety that may occur with some of the dedicated alternative fuel systems. This fuel system can easily be brought onto their fleet yard as long as they have natural gas access. And we can do it cost effectively and get them up and running pretty quickly.
How invasive is it to install it? I'm assuming this is an aftermarket install, correct?
For the vehicle, yes. It's a couple of hours to install the entire system. The first one may take a little bit longer just to get used to it, but once you get that done, it's about 4 to 5 hours for installation.
Excellent. And I know at the conference, lots of people were excited. They're signing up for pilots to give it a try. What's that step if somebody's interested in piloting the technology and reaching out to you guys? Where do they find more information about it?
Yeah, they can go to www.cowfartbus.com to learn more about the solution and the opportunity. They can reach out to me or my colleagues or partners over at American CNG who provide the DEMI diesel displacer. You can email me or call me. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the school buses, identify 2 to 3, maybe up to 5 school buses that you want to pilot this program with. And we're going to look at bringing the infrastructure on very easily. And within, say a couple of weeks after we kind of go through that, we should be up and running and letting you operate the vehicle and starting to save that money and reduce your emissions and start driving a cow fart bus.
Yeah, that sounds like really fun stuff. I know everybody's looking for ways to save fuel. And so many districts and so much conversation was $5, $6 diesel. And I really don't necessarily see the pain going away anytime soon. And people spend tons of money on fuel. So a $5,000 top end infrastructure investment seems very attainable for the amount of fuel savings. What's typically the payback time? Because that sounds pretty good to me in terms of what that ends up resulting in.
Yeah, it really depends on how much fuel they use, each fleet. But based on the current diesel prices and where natural gas prices are, it could be anywhere from 2 to 4 years return on investment. And the great thing about the entire solution is that if you put it on a bus and say you have to retire that bus, that solution, the Demi diesel displacer and Ingevity new fuel solution, lasts for 15 years. So we can transfer it to another bus when that bus is retired. So it's really an asset that can be kept for quite some time. So after 4 years or so, it's all savings, pure savings at that point, which could be, thousands of dollars per year.
Excellent. Well, we love talking about new technology on the STN podcast, and super excited for you to come to STN Expo this year and share with us new technology that can really help districts and contractors save money. So I really appreciate you jumping on the podcast and being a part of this and sharing a little bit more about Ingevity, American CNG, and all the cool technology with new fuel and the Demi displacer. And so I think we got a bright future ahead with some of these new opportunities. So thank you so much for being part of it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tony.
Special thanks again to Eric for jumping on the podcast, my co-host, Mr. Ryan Gray. Awesome to talk to you and share kind of some experiences about STN Expo. Really good stuff. Special thanks to our sponsor, TransFinder. We couldn't do without you. Guys, a reminder again, tsdconference.com, November 8th through the 13th. Lock in that super early bird rate to save $150. All the conference content you need. STNonline.com for the latest and greatest. Remember, you can listen to this podcast, STNpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to pods. Tell your friends too. Share us on social media. We'd love for more people in the community to get in there and get busy learning about everything that we have in store for you. Thanks, Nation. We'll see you next week.